You don't technically need this car. You say that out loud to yourself. You say, I have no space. You say, I'm just looking. Then you click. Then you zoom in on photo number 87 and whisper, oh no. Then you text a friend, the one who always enables you. You say to yourself, this is the last one, knowing it is not. You don't need this car. But maybe, just maybe, this car needs you. Bring a trailer. It's never just a car.
Welcome back to the Boundary Corner Podcast. I'm Curtis Wilson.
I'm Brian Siegler. Thursday night, buddy. How you doing?
Buddy, I got a Santa Claus glass, I've got eggnog, and I've got some Irish whiskey in that eggnog. I'm watching some football. Things are good. How about you?
That's about as perfect of a December evening situation that I can imagine. So I'm right with you. I've got a little porter here.
Ooh.
Little Snowdrift vanilla porter. So
that's a great winter beer, man.
Yes, sir.
Great winter beer to have there. Was that a Leinenkugel?
Yep.
Aha.
Oh, yeah.
I only saw a portion of the bottle, folks. Know your beer 101.
Know your beer.
Man, how's your week been, bud?
Man, it's been one of those weird weeks where it's either really slow, and then for 3 hours I get a lot of stuff that crosses my desk and have to bang some stuff out. So been one of those. How about you, man?
Pretty steady, other than several technical issues at work, which this time of year is never any fun to be sitting there trying to make something process and it's like error and you're like, dear God.
Go through. Do it.
And then you're having to tell someone, yeah, I told you I was having this back by 11. Might be closer to 12. Oh, is everything okay? I just won't process. Sorry.
We're waiting.
Nothing I'm doing here. You know, and it's like we're going to have a beautiful mid-fall weekend in mid-December this weekend, 65 degrees. So
yeah, I'm not sure if I'm ready for that again. I'm one of those people that once I get in a certain mindset, I kind of like to plow ahead. So these fake falls, and then in the spring where you get that, late February, you get that one really warm day out of nowhere, but then you get 2 more weeks of 20 degrees. No, I like that other stuff. Yeah, I don't really like. I don't really like it, but it is what it is.
I don't either.
Suck it up and deal.
I don't either. It can screw up my sinuses, which I hate. And B, it's just my body says it's winter.
Yeah.
My body, it's winter. It needs to be winter. There needs to be snow. It needs to be cold.
It's like you've thrown me a day in the 60s. I've already burned all my hoodies. I can't go back.
I burned the hoodies. I put the shorts away, which I have put the shorts away, except I found a pair the other night in my bathroom underneath some things. So maybe, karma, one of those things, you're going to need this.
You're going to need, I'm that weirdo that still wears shorts all winter though.
I know you do. I can do it to a certain degree, but it gets to a point where I'm like, nah, I'm good.
As long as I know I'm not going to be out more than 5 minutes, if I'm just getting into my car, driving around, out of my car, into a building,
you can do it.
That's not cold enough for me to sacrifice comfort.
Exactly. Awesome. Well, folks, obviously it is Hate Week here on the Boundary Corner Podcast. As the Hokies this week will be battling UVA for I don't know what is going to be a big number for the Commonwealth Cup.
Yep.
Trying to take it back after losing for the first time since 2003.
8-week part 2. We had a teaser earlier, and now that got pushed back. So now we're officially in hate week. It is happening, ladies and gentlemen. The game will be played. The governor's announcement earlier did not change that, despite some whisperings in dark corners of the interwebs. We are plowing ahead with this game. Yeah. So, I mean, that's where we're at in hate week. Just to recap a little bit, guys, we saw a big stinker from Mike Young and the gang against Penn State.
That was brutal to a point. I was going to follow it on my phone. I kept the TV on in the man cave to peek in every few minutes as I was watching something with my wife. And we were doing something, and I kind of lost track of the game that started.
Yeah.
And when I looked down, it was 17-3, and it was just like, that's not good.
That's not how you want to start it. Yeah, it started bad, and then it just kept getting gradually worse. And Penn State had one of those nights where, like, the Hokies played a bad game, don't get me wrong. Bad game, had a bad shooting night, wasn't very active on the defensive end. But Penn State had one of those magical shooting nights where, like, everything they threw up was falling.
Yeah, everything they threw up was falling. I mean, they were legitimately 50% from the field. So, just from the field, like, they couldn't miss. They went out a little bit further, and, man, I don't know if you saw this, but from three-point range, they were 52%.
Yep.
So it was one of those nights, like, you can't win.
Well, they have a bad possession and then get bailed out. Like, when the Hokies were doing the right thing, they were still getting burned. So,
yeah, back to the drawing board to sort of figure it out, because again, you can't score 55 points and expect to win many games. You can't shoot under 40, under 30 from three, and 50% from the free throw line. I mean, just awful. But I think, after two stinkers like that, have faith, in Mike Young that he can pull it together. The
law of averages says the shooting percentage is going to go up a little bit. So
it's true. And we'll find out a lot Tuesday night.
Yeah. I agree.
We'll find out a lot Tuesday night against Clemson. I mean, Clemson's 4-0. They beat Maryland. They beat Purdue. They beat Mississippi State. Obviously, Purdue and Maryland being usually two of your top 25 teams out of the Big Ten. So we'll find out more. Do they bounce back, or do they kind of keep this skid going? Because it's almost – last year it was the loss to Michigan State. Then they lost the next few games to Dayton and BYU, who were going to be tournament teams. But it continued the downward spiral. This year, the big win happens, the solid win after happens, then they start hitting the skids a little bit. So
yeah, and like I said, encouraging is that at least against VMI, it was just shooting, and against Penn State, regardless of how they shot, they were probably losing that game based on how Penn State was playing. So, I mean, there's probably only one or two teams in the country that would have beat Penn State when they were shooting like that. So. To that point, it's still early. Let's not get discouraged by a loss, especially after how you started.
Yep.
Keep plugging ahead. Try to fix what's a little sketchy there. Like I said, I care more about the stuff I saw on the defensive end and the rotations than I do about anything that happened on the offensive end. They did pretty well on the boards, all things considered. So. If they can just hit some shots, which I think will eventually come, they'll be fine on the offensive end. I'd like to see them clean up some of the defensive stuff, though.
Absolutely. All right, before we get deep into sort of breaking down UVA, and we're not going to do Know the Enemy and break it down because, again, similar to last week, this is our most hated rival, probably the team we see the second most of living here in the Commonwealth. We're going to do strengths and weaknesses of both sides of their ball with data and some tape breakdown. But, Brian, I'm going to ask you a question. Give me your honest opinion. If Justin Fuente brings back the Commonwealth Cup or makes the Commonwealth Cup stay in Blacksburg, does he save his job?
Absolutely not. That's a firm no.
Okay.
And I say it from this perspective. We've gotten to a point now where there was excuses and there was reason to potentially say this might get better with more time. But I think we're past the point where, regardless of what a win-loss record looks like in a given year, Justin Fuente's not going to be the coach that gets us consistently to the ACC championship game, gets us over the hump against Clemson, potentially gets us a future shot at the college football playoff. He's not that guy. And if we know that, and we know that we're going to have these weird seasons where we win 5 or 6 games, and then we're going to have a couple seasons where we might win 8 or 9, I don't think that's good enough, and that doesn't stand up to the expectations we had for him as a coach. And I think that now we know that we need to move on.
Yep. This isn't a situation. Someone me and you chatted with this week, I can't remember who it was trying to compare this to the Harbaugh situation. And I sat here and we were in that conversation. I said, if Justin Fuente was 21-11 over his last 2-3 seasons, hell no, we wouldn't be firing him, because he would have been winning somewhere between 9 and 10 games before this season started. It would be a completely different story. You can't put that in with Harbaugh because Harbaugh had won 10-9 games.
Harbaugh's problem is that he's losing to Ohio State every year, and that pretty much never gives him a chance to play for the Big Ten championship.
True. Now, the other piece is this, though, and I've got the record right here. Justin Fuente started the tenure out 19-8. I think after 2017, I think me and you felt good. After 18, it was some skepticism, after Duke skepticism, but you saw the rebound bounce back, but then you've seen it re-snowball. It's almost like the snowball that went into a good avalanche, got somewhere where it stopped, but then something happened behind it and shook it loose and it started rolling. He's 18-18 in his last 3 seasons. He's 500.
Yeah, that's not good.
That's
not what we signed up for.
That's not what we signed up for at all. Again, I think our expectations were somewhere between 8 and 11 every year. And we got that 3 seasons. But what's happened is, as we've mentioned numerous times, it's where the losses come to, who the losses come to. It's games where you're looking like you're not even putting up a fight. It's games where you're looking like you have no answers. And when that's happening too many times, the no answer games, not so much, somebody pulls an upset, tip your hat to them. It's the games when there aren't answers, where it's like, okay, do something different. We keep doing the same. Why are we doing the same thing? It's not working. And I think that's where we're at. Again, I've said it before and I'll stick to this. If not for him, a lot of things that were not good within the program don't get reflected. Thank you for that. And hopefully him doing that is able to wit in the athletic department as they start looking who the next head coach will be and saying, we know these are our deficiencies. Here's how we're going to fix them for you.
Yeah.
And what do you want to do to put your stamp on this?
Yeah, I mean, I think on the whole, he's ultimately leaving the program about at the same level that he found it.
Yep.
I think from a brand perspective, our brand isn't quite as good as it was when he took over.
True.
But I think because of shining light on some of the things we need to improve, I think we're taking some steps where we need to ratchet it up. And I think that ultimately, cancels out some of the brand losses there. So, well, I think a net zero. So, he didn't completely run the program into the ground. I mean, the big problem right now is because of everything else happening is that donors are getting antsy and donors want answers. And I think donors are getting what they want. So
exactly. The other piece is you talk about where we were public image level, perception level is slightly down. But right now, I would take a slightly down view in perception, knowing that you're going to get what you need operationally. It's not sexy. It's not saying, oh, we're winning 10, 11 games a year.
It's not sexy, and it doesn't all happen overnight either. So it's a slow build up.
Run, but the whole piece is you get that in place, you get back to where you were. You get back to competing for the ACC. You get back to winning 10, 11 games every year.
And as nice as the brand is, I think the new coach would appreciate the other stuff more than the brand.
Damn right. All right, well, let's jump to it, folks. Time for a little breakdown here of the UVA team. Brian, let's start with their defense. When I was just doing the data dump, as I always like to do, I looked first at their strengths. And I'm going to run all three to you here, and you tell me if this is correlating what you're seeing on tape.
Yep.
All right, first of all, they are basically top quarter of the country rushing defense-wise. They're only giving up 125.9 yards a game, 3.49 a carry, right against one of our biggest strengths. They're up there in sacks. Number 9 in the country, 33 total sacks for the year. And also, they are forcing a ton of turnovers. 17 total, 6 fumbles, 11 picks, top 15 in that. So kind of seems like they're doing some very good things on defense. So does the tape show this, or is the tape a little more,
The tape definitely bears out exactly what those stats are showing. And I'm gonna name 3 names, and one of them we do not have to deal with. So I'll start with the one we don't have to deal with, Charles Snowden.
Yes.
For most of this season, Charles Snowden was giving offenses fits.
Yep.
6'7" edge rusher, great speed, great athleticism, hits you with a load too. So not having to deal with that coming off the edge. The problem with that is that we do have to deal with Noah Taylor. He was lining up opposite of Snowden. He's now their primary edge rusher. Snowden was definitely the dude, but Noah Taylor is no slouch as well. And it's still going to have to stop him from getting to the quarterback because he's going to come hard. And Zane Zandier is the inside linebacker for them. Big player in the middle of that defense, kind of an enforcer in the middle, really good run stopper. So he's the guy that's getting tackles for loss. He's kind of packing the stat sheet in the tackle column as well. So, they're going to do a lot of things to kind of slow down our strength, which is our running game, whether it's handing the ball to Khalil Herbert or running one of our quarterbacks up the middle or on the outside.
All right. So we talk about that. We talk about they force turnovers, but they have weaknesses. As good as they are at sacking the quarterback, I was shocked by this number. They are absolutely dreadful against passing. I'm talking quarterback passing efficiency. They're 153 out of 165. They almost average 15 yards per completion. They are the most passing yards allowed in the country. Now, I know they played 9 games, and there are some other teams that haven't played as many, but there's enough teams out there that have played more than 8 games. It just shows something there. Also, 62% completion. So, that's not a good number. You want to be sub 60 as a defense. Also, really big in allowing first downs. They average nearly giving up 20 first downs a game. 86 in the country. So on the bottom half of that. Now, Brian, a couple other things that they aren't weaknesses, but they aren't really great at. Third down conversions, 39.8. That's a big bugaboo of the Hokies. So right under 40%. And then the other is they're giving up 30 points a game.
Okay.
So, compared to Hokies defense, we're giving up like 32.1. And obviously, I think we feel like we've had more issues than they have. So it ain't all sunshine and roses on their defense.
No, and I mean the big thing is how weak they are in the back end, man. They don't tackle great on the back end in the passing game. They actually do a pretty good job from the safety position filling up in the run, but they end up missing a lot of tackles with guys that are elusive in space. UNC game, I mean, UNC just ran out of time.
Yeah.
If they had, one more stop, they were going to win that game. I mean, they just ran out of time.
If they stopped the fake punt,
yeah,
they win that game.
And Thompson did just a great individual effort on that. Getting off topic here a little bit, just that was designed to go right, and he went left, cutting it back, and got there. So, but they're weak on the back end. Like I said, struggles with tackles, bunch of chunk plays, crossers, seams, deep shots on the edge. I mean, it shouldn't be a route in our repertoire that we shouldn't be able to exploit them with in some way.
Okay.
The question is, do we take advantage of that? If we can stop the big thing is we can stop them getting to our quarterback or making our quarterback have to throw before he's ready. That's where that secondary gets good because they are opportunistic. So they're opportunistic, but they are very suspect. So as long as we can make good decisions with the ball in the passing game, we should be fine.
That's what I was going to kind of ask is how can you have that many interceptions, that many sacks, but be that bad in a passing game? And it sounds like what it is when they force essentially the throw to go early or force the throw to the wrong spot or rush the throw, that's when they're getting their picks.
Yeah.
When the pocket stays clean, people are just carving them, including BC's backup who went, 502 last week?
Yeah.
So let's hope that, we can put up 300 plus. One of those things I feel like if we don't pull up over 270, but we shall move on. Anything else on the defensive side you want to hit, Brian, before we jump over to the offensive side of the ball?
Yeah, I mean, I think in terms of like how we would attack it, I mean, from a passing game perspective, I think we should kind of pass to set up the run. I think we need to not just work in the short and intermediate stuff that I've been pounding on a lot lately, but also we need to take some shots. We need to stretch them. We need to make them work for it. But we need to be strategic with our shots. We don't want to put the quarterback back there for, 4 or 5 seconds waiting for routes to develop before he can get rid of it with, Noah Taylor and Zane Zandier bearing down on him. So that's what I would do to kind of start things up. And then once they loosen up a little bit and have to start pulling some of those safeties out of the box, that's when we can start with the running game and pounding them a little bit and kind of eating them up between the tackles.
Now, when you talk about not giving 4 or 5 seconds, is this something where you're thinking about the alignments where, the goal is going to be field side, we're going to put 3 guys and we're going to leave 1 guy down here. Your high safety has to make a decision because if he chooses to come over here and going to help, you're allowing 3 routes to develop on this side. Where most of the time in those cases, you tell me if I'm right or wrong, we're going to put our best corner on this side, free safety. You're going to go to the other hash. Don't worry about that side. He's got the out of bounds as his extra defender.
Yeah. I think you want to try to isolate, if you've got man coverage, you read man coverage, kind of isolate where that safety is going to be shading to and kind of attack opposite that. That way you can throw the ball earlier in the route and just, it could be a 50-50 type situation versus having to wait for a guy to come open. On top of that, I'd like to see some of the RPO stuff just because that's going to slow down that pass rush a little bit. If you can work some of those in there, should be able to take some shots up the seams, maybe throw a fade out of that.
All right, well, let's hope somebody burned the Excel spreadsheet then this week. All right,
did you burn the Excel spreadsheets? It's getting burnt at the end of the week anyway.
Yeah, there we go. At the end of the week. Exactly. All right, well, let's move on. Let's look at their offense. again, I went through looking through the data, looking for items of strength, items of weakness. Believe it or not, kind of shocked me. Their passing offense is actually really a strength of theirs. Averaging 260 a game, about 12 yards per completions. That's kind of impressive losing Armstrong for the games that they did. The only slight hiccup is they are only averaging about 58% completion. I have a feeling you might be able to tell me why on that in a few minutes here. The one thing that shocked me even more is protecting the quarterback. They're giving up less than 2 sacks a game and only about 4 tackles for loss. So again, I'm still trying to figure out how with that mash unit that they're doing it. I hope you can shed some light on that. They consistently win time of possession all year, usually averaging about 31 minutes a game. And running the ball, I consider them more average, only about 174 yards, so not terrible, but not dominating.
They're very much middle of the pack.
Yeah, pretty much.
And that kind of checks out as well with what I'm seeing. We talked about the couple games Armstrong missed, but when he's been in there, he's made that offense more consistent. So whereas, last year with Perkins, they could just kill you at any given moment.
Yeah.
With the ability to either throw it deep or Perkins to beat you with his legs. This is really more of a kind of a balanced approach with Armstrong having a lot more poise in the pocket and a lot more poise behind the line of scrimmage and making good choices there than I really thought I would see. He had some early problems in the season with some interceptions, but he's really cleaned that up, and he's really good at feeling when to step up in the pocket, when to break the pocket, when to look down the field to make the play once he's broken the pocket, and when to just take off and try to get a first down. And I'll say this, he's not elite like Perkins in terms of athleticism. He's probably more similar to a Sam Howell in terms of his athleticism, but he's definitely more run first than Sam Howell. He's a guy that's going to, if he sees it there, he's going to take it and he's going to run. So we got to watch him in both elements there, a true dual threat at the quarterback position. So that's where their offense runs through. They've got a good kind of collection of running backs as well. The main one is Talapapa. He doesn't jump off the tape when you see him. There's nothing elite about him, but he's a solid 1A guy for them. He kind of does a little bit of everything. He's a good blocker. He kind of works through the garbage a lot between the tackles, even though he's a little undersized. And then they've got Simpson, who does a really good job of catching balls out of the backfield. I saw him take one against UNC. He broke a really big one. I think it was like a 70 or 80 yard touchdown off just like a quick swing pass out of the backfield. So he can hurt you in the receiving game. They throw a lot of screens to him, stuff out, check downs and things like that. So he's got to watch in that type of thing. And he'll also carry the ball some. He actually likes to thump a little bit more than Talapapa. So kind of an athletic guy that'll bring a little bit of lumber at the end of a run.
Very nice, Brian. What about their offensive line? Again, I look at the sack numbers. I don't see a lot about that. Is it, you mentioned, the dual threat capabilities of Armstrong, but to still have that low a number, is it just a perfect combination in what they're doing, or are they borderline, a really, really good offensive line?
I'd say they're above average offensive line. They're not a really good offensive line, but they are a good offensive line. They're probably, I don't know, maybe 3 or 4 in terms of the best lines we've seen this year. So they're not like Clemson. They're not elite level, but they get the job done. But pairing it, what they do with what Armstrong's capabilities are, they look a little bit better than they are. And, they got lucky a little bit. Armstrong has done a good job of oftentimes getting rid of the football when he needs to. He has kind of that little bit of Russell Wilson type thing where he can get in trouble and then get himself out of trouble and then get rid of the ball.
Okay.
And sometimes that goes for completion, and sometimes it just goes for, getting thrown out of bounds and moving on to the next play. So he's definitely helped them in that regard. Whereas kind of Perkins, once you were there, he was going down. He has a little bit more of ability to break tackles in the backfield and then still be able to get rid of the ball to save a sack.
Well, let me ask this, Brian, because I know you're going to have ways to attack this this offense, in a second here. But me and you talked earlier this week, and you just we kind of talked about it. There's been one good running quarterback that really burned us this year. That was Malik Willis at Liberty.
Yep.
Other guys have got some yards, but not absolutely killed us. I know Trevor Lawrence broke the 17-yarder for the touchdown last week, and he had a couple other good runs. We held the air at King. Sam Howell didn't have much going on his day.
No.
We've played enough to where it's like, if anything comes out of this year good, the fundamental change up front where running, like quarterbacks, not necessarily dual threat, but guys who have a little wiggle aren't killing us. And I always go back. Remember that night day we went to Big Al's against Maryland?
Yep.
And that kid could not have been faster than me. But he kept breaking the pocket, getting like 12 to 15-yard gains on the left side. And me and you were just sitting there furious. Like, stop him.
What are you doing? What are you doing? Yeah.
So Brian, how can we attack this offense and really, exploit the weaknesses I'm going to mention in a second here?
Yeah, so the big thing is getting them off the field on third down. They've got a couple guys that are really good at kind of moving the sticks when they get in like a second and long, third and long situation. Jana being the probably the biggest returning receiver that we talked about from last year. He's a stick mover, but he also has the ability to stretch the field vertically. Then they've got Kemp. He's more of that slot receiver underneath the coverage threat, working some quick outs, some, drags, some shallow crossers, things like that just kind of, they're the thorn in your side all game. The newcomer, Lavelle Davis Jr., he tall.
Oh, Mr. 6'7", right?
He tall. So obvious red zone threat here. Obviously a guy that could pick on smaller corners if we, don't give them some help. And then you've got a guy like Poljan that really big red zone threat for them at tight end. So they've got a quadra of weapons there that they can take advantage of in those third down situations, in those red zone situations. So the key is to get off the field in those situations and don't let them keep the ball on the field. Like you said, time of possession is good for them. It's because they're able to get some of those stick movers in the passing game, and when things break down, Armstrong can take off and still get it with his legs too. So if we can be good on third down on defense, I think we like our chances here.
All right. Well, Brian, I'm going to just go right into it. You talk about the third down. It is one of their biggest weaknesses. They are 96 in the country at converting third downs at 36.4. So clearly, probably the games they've won, they've probably been really good at it. The games they've lost, they've probably been really bad at it. And probably what you've been looking at more recently is probably the last 4 games where they won.
Yeah.
Obviously, if they're converting them, it kind of says something that they're doing it better, but overall, they're not doing it great. Now, I'll say this, and you mentioned it with Armstrong. You talked about his interceptions earlier in the year, but they're still turning the ball over at a pace of setting them at 115th in the country. 17 total turnovers, 12 picks, 5 fumbles. So although you've talked about him cleaning it up lately, it still is that possibility there.
Absolutely.
Now, the other one, and I think this is going to be the key to winning Saturday night, they're not great at converting their red zone into touchdowns. 39 attempts, only 24 touchdowns. We must bend, not break.
Yeah.
They're just similar to the Clemson game. It's going to sound really weird, but first drive we held them to a field goal, right? Later on, they get deep, we force a turnover. Now we give it right back, but that's essentially saying right there, well, that's 11 points. If you tell me that we do that and we hold them down 11 points, I think we win this game by a couple of scores.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, the key is going to be how well we do on third down and how well we do in the red zone. They've shown a propensity to, be bad in some of those situations. Lately, they've looked a lot better. Lately, they look more like a team that converts on those. And I mean, we've seen it of this little run they've been on. They've been winning more than they've been losing, and some of that goes back to them just cleaning up some of those things that were really bad for them at the start of the season. And it's really we're kind of in a mirror image right now. Like, this UVA team is probably playing the best football they played all season coming into this game, and we're probably playing some of the worst football we've played all season coming into this game. So something's got to give. I think from a talent perspective, we probably have the more talented team, but that doesn't, paper doesn't win the game.
No, it doesn't. Let me ask this too, and as weird as this sounds, but do you think that because of the NC State game when Armstrong got hurt, and then he was out the next two?
Yep.
Or he was out the Wake Forest game at least, and then he was sort of limited with Miami. Do you think that helped them more than hurt them? Where he got hurt, they were able to take him out, do some things different, and instead of having games where he was in there, let's say he doesn't get hurt, they play Wake, they lose to Wake with him, where the failures just keep piling on top of each other over and over, where the coaching staff can say, hey, listen, you're healthy now, clean slate. We're going to do some different things. While you were out, we found some niches for Keontae Thompson. So, do you think that helped them more than hurt them?
I think so. I think it provided them the ability to give defensive fronts different looks with their offense, and especially working in Thompson a lot as kind of like a wing, extra quarterback. Like, he kind of does a little bit of everything in there. They use him like primarily from the wing, sending him in motion on like jet sweeps, doing some counters with him. Like, there's a lot that they do with him in the running game that gives defenses different looks than they would get, from a typical offense typical team that runs the type of offense that UVA runs. So, yeah, I think those extra wrinkles have given Armstrong a little more flexibility in how he plays the game, and that offense as a whole a little bit more room to work because there's an extra threat out there.
All right. Well, normally we do pivotal players, folks, but we're not going to do tonight. You've seen our team. You know who needs to play well. You know what needs to happen. And if you haven't, go back and look at all the games over the next 48 hours.
Yeah.
You'll figure it out pretty quick.
Condensed tapes out there, guys. Just take a look at it, see what you can find, pull some of the good stuff out there. But, we know who needs to play well. We know at this point that, if we're not getting off the field on third down on defense, or if we're not converting third downs on offense, those are the two big things that have really determined how good or bad this team has been this year. And if we're not doing those things well, then we're probably not going to win this game. If we can do them, somewhat proficiently, we should be able to make this happen. So we'll see how it goes. But how are you feeling heading into this one, man? I'm at a point where I don't know what to throw out there for this one.
I don't know. I don't know what to throw out there for this one. I mean, I'm going to make a prediction here in a couple minutes because what I've seen from this team, it's the inconsistencies. We have not put 4 good quarters together since NC State back in September.
Yep.
There's been at times second half of Boston College. If that team on both sides of the ball shows up every week since then, the only game we would have lost would have been Clemson. Hindsight, hindsight, some of the quarters against Pitt. If that team had showed up every game since Boston College, we wouldn't have won any games. We wouldn't have done any games before that. So we are a Jekyll and Hyde team.
Yep.
And that's what's scary. The upside is they're a Jekyll and Hyde team. And their good side has been showing out the last 4 weeks, where our worst side has been showing out 4 weeks. You hope that our opinion is we've got a lame duck coach. You hope that he wants to go out in a blaze of glory. He does things different. He takes some crazy risks in an attempt to win this game. And, I'm with you. We have significantly more talent than them. I mean, probably at every single position, we're more talented than them.
I'd say linebacker's the only position that I'd say they might have us beat in, but without Snowden, it's probably closer to even than it would be normally.
And they're running a 3-4, so you're putting their outside linebackers in with their inside linebackers. So it's a little different. So let's just get to it. What's your prediction for Saturday night?
Oh, man.
Because it is at night, when nothing matters with it. It's a night game.
Yeah, it's kind of weird that we've been getting this like prime spot as we're playing the worst football we've seen all year. That's been a little frustrating because we have to keep watching it over and over and over again happen, and as does everybody else. So that means we get to hear about it a lot too. You get a primetime slot, you hear about how you did a whole lot more. So here we are. Give me 31-27 Virginia Tech.
All right. 31-27 Virginia Tech. All right. I'm with you. After a few weeks of picking against us, there's just a part of me that couldn't in this case. I think we come out fired up. I think we come out and run some trick plays. I think in the end, they're going to revert back to some of their hided portions of this game.
Okay.
I think they're going to revert back to their hide a few portions of this game, which, don't get me wrong, our hides are going to show too. But I think for them, since it hasn't really shown in close to 5 weeks, I think that's what's going to be the toughest thing to overcome for them. Give me 38-31, Virginia Tech. The Cup stays in Blacksburg. And I
think our guys are playing for something. I mean, whether it's for Coach Fuente or for pride or just to get the damn cup back, I think our guys are going to show up and be as focused as they've been on any game probably since game 1 against NC State.
Or last week.
They were focused last week, at least for a half.
Well, 2.5. I mean, to me, that was 2.5 of the better quarters of football we played on both sides of the ball.
It's true, man. If we could put another quarter together with that, if we're only having a half a quarter where we're playing like we don't know what we're doing, we probably win this football game.
If we only have a half a quarter where we don't know what we're doing, we win by more than 7 and 4 points. I think we would probably say 10-11, maybe 2 touchdowns. Yep. But we have to say there's going to be some really bad quarters in there. All right, well, let's roll on, Brian, to our picks for the week, folks. Going to pick some ACC games, a couple out-of-conference games as well. First one, Brian, since you led off with the Commonwealth Cup game, I'm going to lead off with this one. Wake Forest, Louisville. Louisville is laying 1.5 points. I am trying to figure this one out. I'm trying to figure if there's players hurt on Wake. Clearly, Ratwell's out. JVN's out. If someone can explain to me why Louisville is laying points, because I think Wake Forest wins this game outright.
Yeah, give me Wake Forest legal limit.
Legal limit. Like, what have you seen? Like, Wake Forest has, like, essentially quite a bit to play for if you think about it. I mean, they've had one of their better seasons, beat some good teams. So, I
Well, they're starting to stack some decent seasons together under Clawson there, man. So
yeah, yeah. And they're going to be happy with who they are. And I think Clawson will be there for another 5 years if they keep at this pace. All right, Brian. This is kind of the toilet bowl of the ACC. Duke and Florida State. Florida State lane 4.5.
oh man.
Toilet bowl. That's the issue.
Welcome to the toilet bowl, ladies and gentlemen. I'll take FSU.
All right, you're going to lay points with the team that basically hasn't been playing for the last month because of COVID.
Exactly. That's how bad this situation is at this point, man. I just I feel like Duke has really been rudderless lately. So I think FSU, after kind of having their wad built up for the last several weeks, they finally get to hit somebody again. So I think we'll see some action there.
That's true, but to me, it feels like they laid down. In the last 3 games they played, they lost by 32, 24, and 16. Not exactly a ringing endorsement. The biggest loss was to Louisville, who's 3-7. So I'm going to flip and say take Duke. After getting waxed by Miami last week, I think they show some pride, come out. I don't know if they win the game, but as bad as both of these teams are, I'll take the dog. I'll take points.
Okay, I'm good with that.
All right, Brian.
I'm not going to do it, but
hey, you do. I do me. All right, let's go to the Big Ten for essentially a battle of the heartland with Wisconsin, Iowa. So dairy versus corn here. Iowa laying a slim 1.5 points. What you got, Brian?
Yeah. After what I saw from Wisconsin, I'm going to actually take Iowa here.
Okay.
After what I saw last week with Wisconsin, I mean, all credit to IU there, but I think Wisconsin had a chance to show something and they just completely crapped the bed. And I think they're not quite the team we thought they were going to be this year. So I'll take Iowa.
We are who they thought they were. By the way, the over/under for this game, you want to guess it real quick?
Is it under 50?
It is under 50.
Let me go 44.
42.
Okay.
Well, it's also Iowa in December. I'm sure it's probably going to be about 15 degrees with a nice
cold. It's pretty cold out there.
I'm going to go opposite of you again. I think Wisconsin's got something to prove. They've had a couple bad games in a season where many thought that they would be the team coming out of the West. I think they're going to go try to prove something at Kinnick Stadium. And since this is basically a coin flip pick 'em game anyway, I'll pick them to win this game over the Iowa Hawkeyes.
Okay.
All right. Next, Brian, let's go to the SEC East in essentially a battle for second place, believe it or not, as Missouri takes on Georgia. Georgia laying 13.5 points. I've been back and forth on this one. Obviously we got a connection there with Damon Hazleton.
He had a big game last week.
Did have a very big game last week, which that took him a while to get there to do it. But it is what it is. I mean, you look last week at his stat line, and he goes out there, 5 catches, 98 yards. So we'll see. We'll see if he can keep that up against Georgia. I just can't see Missouri staying with Georgia. Missouri beat Arkansas by 2 points, blew out Vanderbilt. Vanderbilt doesn't count. But the couple of elite teams they played this year, that would be Florida In Alabama, they got waxed by 24-19 poetically. They also lost by 23 to Tennessee. I feel like Georgia maybe feel like they're playing for something still. Maybe the SEC will do something wild and say they play Texas A&M in an effort to sneak in Texas A&M, into the playoff if Bama beats Florida. So give me Uga.
Okay. I'm right there with you, man. I like what Mizzou has done of late, but at the same time, as you've noted, when they've had to go up against the big dogs in their conference, they've kind of not looked that great. Even an up and down dog like Tennessee, that wasn't a great performance. So I don't trust them in big games, and this is a big game for them. So I'm gonna take Uga.
Yep. All right. All right, let's go to the biggest game in the ACC battle of top 20 teams. Number 10, Miami, 17, UNC. Miami laying 3.5. Miami, it's their potential to probably get a New Year's Six bowl if they pull this win out. So who you got, Brian?
Oh, man. Both of these teams, despite how good their records are, have played games where you're like,
huh?
What are you doing? And then they pull out the win, so it doesn't matter. And then obviously there's been a couple losses there for UNC that you kind of shake your head at. But in terms of consistency, I like Miami a little bit better. Even when they play down to their competition, they generally still keep them at arm's length. Yeah. This is a big matchup for them. They showed up and played pretty well against us. They showed up and played decent a couple other games this year. Really, Clemson's the only one that kind of bit them pretty good. So I'll take Miami in the 3.5.
Yeah, the Clemson game bit them pretty good, but I mean they were within 11 points at halftime. Yeah. Essentially, to most people against Clemson, you lose it in the second half. North Carolina, to me, it's just been they lose when they're not supposed to lose. They lost against UVA. They shouldn't have lost against UVA. They lost against Florida State. They shouldn't have lost against Florida State. And again, I really am going to put it on there that for Miami, they blew the doors off Duke last week. Miami essentially got disrespected in saying, hey, when Clemson wins and when Notre Dame wins this week, they're in. We're not making anybody else play any more games. There's not. Even though they could have stood up and said, well, listen, we only have one loss to a top 5 team. Yes, it's by multiple, touchdowns.
Yeah.
We should still get a chance. I've got to say, I'm on Miami with this.
Okay. So you're right there with me. That's cool.
Right there with you. I'm on Miami.
It's close enough to a pick 'em where, I trust Miami's consistency. Shocking to say, more than I trust UNC to play consistently. So
it's true. But the other piece is this. UNC's defense is like Swiss cheese, where the Miami defense several times has essentially locked people down. You see in this game like me, like 41-31, where it's a really good game, but UNC's defense just can't stop them. Miami gets that 1 or 2 stops in the end. Yep. Awesome. All right, folks. Last game, and to me, the biggest game of the week, and rankings don't matter. It's the Army-Navy game. First time in, oh my God, I lost it. First time in how many years it's going to be on campus, because it's going to be in West Point. And I lost it. I'm very sorry. I had this up.
Effort team.
Because so many years it's either where it's like Philly, it'll be at the Meadowlands sometimes. Sometimes it'll be down at the Ravens Stadium, which is really awesome. So sorry guys. This was terrible because I had it and then I lost it. It's a long time. By the way, 1983 they played in the Rose Bowl in Pasadena.
Dude, that would have been a great game to see.
Oh, unbelievable, yeah. So I'm going here. Hold on. Just give me a second. I'm getting back into the 1930s, and I'm wondering if it's like 1931. Either way, it has been a long time since it's been played on a campus. It's going to be played at West Point, which is really cool. Um, and for me, Brian, Navy started looking bad at the beginning of the year. They have really not righted the ship, even with a couple wins. I've got to go Army, even though it's a triple option game, and Army literally not scoring one possession versus Navy not scoring two possessions could push this game. But I can't see that. I've got to go Army.
I'm with you, man. I think Army has just been more consistent this year. Navy started the season just ugh, ugh. And Army's been kind of steady Eddie. So I'm going to take Army. I think they're going to pull it out. As much as we hate the triple option, especially when a team named the Yellow Jackets run it,
Yeah.
I love seeing it in games like this where it's like, almost heads up. So let's let the triple option shine, the flex bone shine. When it's running the way it should, it is a thing of beauty, as annoying as it can be for a defense.
Oh, absolutely. When they're humming, and when a couple years ago, I can't remember what year it was, where it's like not either one could stop each other, but like it was that perfect paced game where it was just like back, forth, back, forth, back, forth, and it goes really fast, and it's just like thing of beauty. I'll almost say this too. If Jeff Monken and Army wins, Vanderbilt, and I know no one who's a Vanderbilt fan probably listening to us, but somebody who is, first of all, give them a pat on the back because life of that fandom in football has got to be just absolutely brutal.
It's like Duke fans, but worse.
Exactly. Go hire Jeff Monken. You will be a competitive football team for 5 to 10 years with him running the triple option. You will win somewhere between 5, 7, and your best years 8 games a year.
Yeah.
Do it.
Vandy's out there. They've always been like going for, not splashy hires, but like hires that get them pub. I mean, that's why you see Healy attached to probably a lot of their rumors this offseason, man.
Yeah.
So it'll be interesting. Did you catch the Jeff Collins, Pat Narduzzi handshake?
No, I did not have that game.
Oh, man. Jeff Collins is my new favorite ACC coach that's unless we're playing him. Very brief and jerked his hand away from Narduzzi and took off towards the end zone. And Narduzzi's like, I'm like, shut the fuck up, Narduzzi. No one gives a shit about you. And for that, Jeff Collins, right now you are the man.
Or you're the man, Collins. Yeah, screw Narduzzi. All right, Brian. Anything in the smoker this weekend?
This weekend, man, I am doing some more smoked queso. We got a little gathering we're going to Saturday evening, so I'll make some of that. Take that over with some. I don't know what type of chips I'll get. I might actually. Food Line makes a good tortilla that they make fresh there in house. So I usually will pick up some of those.
Oh, nice, man. Nice. Anything breaking while we've been sitting here the last hour on a Thursday night?
Other than laughing at Narduzzi thinking he deserves a better handshake, nah, man, we're good.
Hold on. Yep, I'm seeing it now. Narduzzi pointing at him. Well, the question is, what did Narduzzi do during the game? Is the
everything,
question.
Dude? You know him.
Oh yeah, we know him. We've had to deal with him for years here because
he's the biggest asshole on the sideline in the ACC.
He is. He is a fucking asshole. And a lot of times the shit he's complaining about, it's like, dude, your team is doing this. It's nothing to argue about, or your team is not getting interfered with.
Yeah.
It's like he's trying to overplay the he's trying to overplay I'm trying to get in their heads for a call later on because it gets to a point where the refs are like, I don't care if they do interfere with him. I'm not throwing the flag. He's been in my ear about non-calls the
He's
whole
pushing up. He's pushing up. Shut the hell up.
By far, maybe one of the best Fuente games in 2016. Maybe during his tenure. Because he would not quit throwing the fade.
I'm going to throw the fade over and over and over. I will throw the fade until you stop it.
And they didn't stop it. It was either interference or a catch for Bucky and Isaiah every single time that Thursday night. And Narduzzi lost his freaking.
With every catch, he got a little bit closer to madness.
Oh, it's very.
And then, I mean, last season when he was talking all that shit about not jumping off sides in Beaver Stadium. It's like, well, we didn't jump off that night. We're probably not going to jump off in Lane. Well,
oh, fuck you.
Yep. That's going to happen. That's definitely going to happen.
All right. Well, folks, that is going to wrap up this episode of the Boundary Corner podcast. I'm Curtis Wilson.
I'm Brian Siegler.
Follow us on Twitter, Facebook. Subscribe for the podcast on your favorite source, including Spotify, Amazon, and Apple Podcast. As always, we let our friend Jason Long play us out. Catch him on Spotify and Apple Music. We thank you for listening. And as always, let's go.
Hokies.